So behind me here is my Nitro snowmobile trailer. It's an enclosed 12-foot hybrid trailer, they call it. And I've done a few mods to it. I've owned it for 4 years or so, and every year I kind of figure out something new that I wish it had, so I just add it myself. There's been a few comments in some of the videos of me using this. People wanting to have more of an explanation of what I've done to it or why I did it. So this is going to be a video of all the mods I've done to my snowmobile trailer so far. I use this obviously to just transport snowmobiles when we go trail riding, but also for ice fishing, so I'll pile a bunch of stuff in there. And we'll just dive right in, and I'll kind of show you where I started, start from the first mod and go all the way to where we are now. So when you look at the outside, you can't really tell that anything's been done to it. Obviously we got the Trout Whisperer tackle sticker, that's my company. And then you can see this light bar up here. We'll get to that at the end because that's the last thing that I've done. Let me start on the inside. There it is. Let's hop in, check it out. So the first thing you guys can see when we get in here is this wood, this plywood on the walls here. I'm filming with a GoPro too because this camera has a hard time in this weird lighting, but you can see we've got thin Luan plywood, and when I bought this, it just came framed like this with the aluminum on the outside, very thin aluminum. So I plywooded and I spar varnished this to keep the moisture off from it. And the reason I did that is because, let me show you, bring this around to the front real quick. When I first got this, the second time I used it, right here, see this dent right there? There's one there, and there's one right here under this sticker. What happened was I had my otter sled, my big otter sled, inside of this. If you guys have seen the otter sled, it has rails that come up that hook to the snowmobile and they flip over the top. So right here is what I'm talking about, this piece and this piece. Well, I was trailing it a long ways and it kept sliding forward, and what happened was I hit the brakes once and the whole thing slid forward, and it dented right where the trailer hitch is on the sled because it hit this aluminum. There was nothing protecting it, and it's so thin that it just ruined it. So I decided I didn't need anything too rugged in here, just enough to kind of keep stuff from bouncing off and denting the rest of my trailer. So I just got thin Luan plywood, and then I just used stainless steel self-tapping screws. And you just got to make sure you get the right length so you don't go through this and out the side of the trailer. So make sure your screws don't go through that beam there. This was the main area of concern, but you can see I just kind of hacked it up, cut it around all this stuff, and it works well. I haven't had any issues with that. I pack a ton of ice fishing gear in there. In the winter, I'll have a snowmobile on one side and my big jet sled or otter sled on the other side. So there's stuff stuffed right against the sides of the walls. And I've also used this for moving furniture, just moving random stuff from house to house. And it's really nice to have those walls in there to help protect the trailer because those sidewalls are just so thin, it doesn't take much to dent them. So that was the first thing I did, and it was because of that dent that we got in the front. That's what made me want to do it. Now I see that a lot of these manufacturers are actually making the trailers with the walls already on the side. Much nicer than this, because this only goes, it doesn't go all the way up to the top. And that's because I would just use the whole sheet of plywood. I didn't care about the top. I was mostly, halfway up. So that's what we did there, and had someone ask specifically why I did that. It's just to protect the trailer. So the next thing that I added was this spare tire carrier. This isn't anything that I built. This is actually a product from Nitro that they make, and it's just made to hold one of their spare tires, and they give you the rivets and everything to rivet right to these studs here, or frame pieces, whatever you want to call them. It's cut to fit exactly where you want it. I put it up nice and high so I can get to it, and it's out of the way when I'm putting snowmobiles in and out. So I like that a lot. I figured I'd just mention it because people are probably going to ask me. I didn't make it, but you could make it if you had an aluminum welder or something. But it's just a little mount with a threaded rod, and then you just unscrew this and it takes your tire off for you. And that way it's not out in the elements getting all crudted up on the crappy main roads. Okay, so the next thing that I did was add this angled aluminum on the edge of my door here. And you can probably guess why I did that. It's just a way to guide your skis to not fall off the door. I haven't had it happen, although I could see it happening. And because it's my trailer, I use it a lot. I know how to get on and off it. But if I have other people that aren't so familiar with it, I just don't want an accident to happen or something to get beat up, either with my trailer or their snowmobile. But I believe this was 2.5 or 3 inch angled aluminum here. Add the little spacer underneath just to raise it up a little bit so it's kind of even with this. And we just screwed it right into the aluminum there, all the way down. And on the ends, I just kind of rounded it so it wasn't a sharp piece, so no one's gonna get hurt. So going on isn't a problem, it's when you're backing out. And if you have a snowmobile trailer, you probably know what I'm talking about. You get to this weird little point here where your skis will kind of turn, or it'll kind of like push the snowmobile over a little bit, and your skis can turn and either fall off the edge or catch one of these cables here. My trailer has this cable guide that goes up to the top, and it just helps assist lift the door up and down. I only have one. I don't have one on this side. I know some of the Mission trailers, some of the other guys have 2 cables on each side. Mine only has one, so I wanted to protect that as well, because if your ski gets sideways on there, cleans out that cable, you better watch out, because that thing's going for a ride. It's spring loaded there with like a garage door spring up top. So if that thing breaks off, it's gonna whip around. I've heard it happening and putting a hole right through the trailer roof when that thing swings around. So I wanted to protect that as much as possible, so I added those. And so far it's been pretty good. One thing I would recommend is if you can get the tallest angle aluminum you can find, because I think, like I said, this is about 3 inches tall. And a lot of the more modern skis on the snowmobiles today sit really high. They have a deep keel, and then you also have the carbide runner on the bottom, so it sits up pretty high. And this is still going to keep it on there, but this is just about high enough to catch those newer skis. So if you had like 4 or 5 inch angle aluminum, it would really work a lot better. But this works well for me. Haven't had any problems with it yet. If you're wondering what this thing is, it's just a piece of electrical looming that I put on this cable, just so it'll stand out more, because when it's dark out, you can barely see this thing. You don't want it getting caught on your handlebar or your ski, like we were saying, or your arm or whatever. This allows you to kind of see where the cable is. You can't go the whole way up because this ends up reeling up into that spring. So just put some colored tape on there, and helps you kind of see it better so you don't get caught on it. Because I put these guides on, it ended up setting over a little bit these ski mats. So what I did was I cut the ones up here at sort of an angle. You can kind of see, so it kind of directs your ski over this way, and helps kind of line you up to get you off the ramp better. I think maybe in the future I'll cut a wedged block to fit in here. My father-in-law has done that, and it seems to work well, and your ski will just bounce off from it. But I haven't really had any problems with it yet. It works pretty good. So the next thing that I added, and I got actually a lot of these ideas from my father-in-law, so I can thank him for some of these things, like the ski guides there. I kind of modified it a little bit from what he did, but basically the same type of concept. This was one that he had too, and he recommended I do this. It's just a Broom mount. Pretty simple thing. It's just one of these quick fist mounts, I think they're called. I'll link it down in the description below. I'm gonna link everything down in the description below that I used for this. So if you guys want to pick up some of this stuff and do it yourself, it'll be right down in the description below. But I use these quick fist things for a lot of different things, and I just screwed into the frame piece here behind the plywood, and that just pulls out, unlocks. You undo this, pop the broom out. You might think this is kind of stupid, but really you do want a broom like this. You don't want like a regular push broom, because what you're going to end up doing is when you're going on and off this trailer a lot, this whole ramp gets filled with ice and snow, and then when you flip it up, if you don't clean it off, it gets trapped in this crease here, and the door won't close tightly. So you get a bunch of dirt and ice and snow built up in there. And then you can go in this crease here and just brush everything out so the door seals and closes nicely, just like that. And then you can also clean the inside of the trailer out with it if you get a bunch of ice and snow in there and you don't want it to freeze. So this works really good, and this just kind of keeps it out of the way so it's not banging around in the trailer. I like to have everything tucked away so it's not in the way of loading and unloading stuff. And there it goes. So I just filmed this video yesterday, but I wanted to change my tire over here. It had a small leak, so I put a new tire on there. Trying to get that off. This trailer had a little ladder, aluminum ladder, right by this pass-through door that hung down. It was almost impossible to get that tire off of there. There was one way you could get it off. With the little bottle jack that we have in the truck, like trying to do that on the side of the road or in a snowbank somewhere, that would have been impossible. The step was already a little bit bent from hitting some stuff, and I don't know why you would even need a step. This is only like 2 feet off the ground here. So I cut the dang thing right off. We couldn't fit a tire iron in there with that step in the way. So really stupid design. I just chopped it off. I'll use the aluminum for something else, but there's another mod for you. I also forgot to show you guys this little box I have here. Nothing really too crazy, but I'm sure someone's gonna ask about it. It's just a Craftsman crate you get right at Lowe's. And I just got some stuff in there. I got a couple tire irons, a breaker bar, socket kit, some wrenches, some tie down straps, some zip ties, some pliers, just a general toolkit in case we get to fix something right at the trailer. Okay, so this was the next mod that I did. The trailer came with this tiny little light in here. Now I have the back door open, the side door open, so you can see in here, but at night, even during the day, if you just come in through the pass door, you can't see crap in here. So the factory put this little chintzy LED light in here. It's enough to light it up a little bit, not nearly enough, especially when you get a snowmobile up in here. It blocks a lot of the light for back there. And it's really not mounted high enough. They should have put it like up here or something, because it's just not enough light and it sucks. So what I did was, I don't even use that anymore. I hooked up an LED light strip right up here in the middle of the trailer. I'll link this down in the description below. I actually had it left over from my truck cap camper and I liked how it worked. So I put it in here and I've been using it and it works really well. All I did was wire it right into my marker bulb here on the corner of the trailer. So you can see there's my marker light and there's where I tied into it. I ran the wires up here to a switch that I put in. I just bent a piece of aluminum, riveted it to the framework there, tied my switch in, and now we have full daylight in here. And I'll give you guys some shots of this at night so you can really see the difference, because you can't really tell right now, but it lights up this whole trailer like it's daylight. It's crazy. I love that. And I put it right in the center so when we're gassing up at gas stations or just loading and unloading ice fishing stuff early in the morning or later when it's dark, we can actually see something. All right, you guys ready for the last and final mod that I've done to this? Because I have a smaller truck, it's a little bit harder to see when you're trailing this and backing up in parking lots or just, you know, in the dark. So, but loading and unloading, we ice fish a lot, so we go really early in the morning or we're coming off the ice when it's dark. So being able to see everything, make sure we don't forget stuff. Being able to see and having a ton of light is like the biggest problem with these. So we solved the interior problem with that big light strip, and that has worked awesome. I love that. Super easy to install too. It's just a switch and you just tie into the existing electrical. I showed you guys the light bar that was on the back of the trailer earlier. I'll link this light bar down in the description below. But what I did was I wired this up so when I put the truck in reverse, it acts as a reverse light, and it lights up the whole parking lot, the whole driveway, wherever you are, and you can actually see something when you're backing up. So not only that, you throw it in park, the light goes off. I have a switch, a toggle switch inside, which will switch the power from pulling from the reverse pin on your trailer connector to just the accessory power. So you flip that switch on and the light comes on. So you can actually have the light on when you're loading and unloading gear. So I'm gonna show you guys some night shots of that, but I'll kind of show you what I use to do this, and it seems to work really well. So your trailer generally from the company will come with a 4 or 5 pin connector that plugs into your vehicle. What you'll have to do is buy a 7-pin connector and make sure your vehicle is equipped for that plug-in, but which mine was. So there's a couple ways of doing it. When you buy that 7-pin connector, it gives you a reverse pin to connect to and an accessory pin to connect to. So that's where you're going to take the power to run that light. If you want to do this, you can buy a 7-pin connector that you can just wire. I think you can usually get one at your auto store, but I'll link one down in the description below. But it's basically just this piece right here that you would get, and it comes apart with screws, and you can wire it and use your existing wiring harness, wire it up to the diagram that they give you, and run 2 new wires from the 2 new pins that you get and run them into the trailer. That's a pretty easy option, but the problem with that is I'm not sure how water resistant, how waterproof that is, because it's not really sealed and it's just kind of a crimp connection. But with what I did, I got this whole kit from Amazon, and you can see this has a rubberized coating on it. It's all one piece, it can't be taken apart. This one was an 8-foot cable pre-wired to this plug, and all I had to do was I had to pull all the old wires out and rewire it. So basically all you have to do is pull your old wire out, cut it off inside but leave some extra room, run the new wire through into the trailer, and once you're in the trailer you'll come up through the existing hole down here that the old wiring harness came up through. And this is where I bought this product right here. It's just a little like control box thing. I don't remember what exactly they call it, but it's just a way to connect all of your wiring connections. I'm not going to take the cover off, but I'll show you a picture of what it looks like. But you can see we ran it up. I put this piece of wood on here to hold it up high enough so the skis won't hit it when they come in and out on this track, and you just have to use ring terminals and connect each wire to where it's supposed to go. Now all you have to do is run your wires to the switch you want to use. If you just want the light to come on in reverse, you just run a couple wires to that reverse pin, or 1 wire to that reverse pin, and then ground it. In my case, I wanted the reverse and accessory, so I ran some wires. It's kind of a mess. I ran a lot of wires. I'm not an electrician, and I'm sure I didn't do this the way you're supposed to. But here is my switch. So if I leave this switch in the down position, it's pulling power from the reverse pin on that trailer connector there. If I put it in the middle, it's not pulling any power from anywhere, it's just off. And then if I push it up, it's pulling power from the accessory power. So it'll be on right now. Should be on, let's go check. Yeah, it's on. So I like to leave it down in the reverse, and then get to where we're going, put it in park, and then when we get to unload, flip it in the up position. But don't forget to turn it down. But when I turn my truck off, the lights go off anyway, so you're not going to drain your battery. So from this 3-position lever here, I ran this out to a fuse. I probably didn't need to, but it's for the light bar. I think it's probably already fused with your truck, but I threw it in there anyway. Ran the lights all the way along the looming that was already there for the brake and marker lights on the rear till I got to here. I drilled a hole out through the back and bought the right size rubber grommet that I would need to sort of make that a nice tight waterproof connection. And you can see where that comes out there, and wires into the light. So I'll show you guys some clips of how that light actually works here. We'll add them in right now. I'm in the truck driving right now. I'm gonna pull up past the camera, and now I'm gonna throw it in reverse. You guys should see the reverse light, the big light bar there. All right, so now we've got it in park. We'll go in here, flip our little toggle switch. Ready? Boom, there it is. Ton of light. Move this back so you can see just how much light we're giving off here. Look at that. It's pretty dark out here. I mean, this is like the time of night that we'd be coming off the ice. or coming off the trails. Lights up a lot. All right guys, so we're in the trailer right now. It's pitch black. I'm gonna turn on the little light that came with this trailer that the factory wired up. And that's just this little LED here. As you can see, it lights up pretty good. But if you get something in front of it, like a snowmobile, it blocks a lot of the light back there. It makes it really shadowy. So let me turn on the light bar inside here and show you guys how much light that gives off. Here we go. Full light, and it's right over the center of the trailer. So when we're gassing up, the light's coming from the top instead of from this way, making shadows. It's all coming down. We can fill up our tanks and see what we're doing, and it just gives off a ton more light. I mean, there's so much light in here, as you guys can see. So really cheap thing to do, and super easy. This is what we would do. We would have this light on in here, turn our spotlight on, and then we would pull this door right down. That way we can see the whole ramp, we can see everything with a bunch of light. Yeah, buddy. Just like that. Sweet. We can go in here, turn this off. We can even angle this down a little bit more if we want to. We can mess with that, but just like that. All right guys, so you can see how much light that gives off. Super happy with how that came out. And like I said, everything will be linked down in the description below. I don't know if I explained how I wired that up all that great. I'm not the best electrician. I don't claim to be. You can probably figure it out. It's not that hard if you just spend some time messing with it. So that's the few mods I've done to my snowmobile trailer so far. I'm sure there'll be more to come. And if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you've done some mods to your trailer that you haven't seen here, let me know down in the description below. I'm always interested in doing more stuff like that to my trailer. I like messing around with stuff and just modifying it, making it more efficient, easier to use. If you want to see more stuff done to this, or if you have some ideas, leave those down in the comments and we will check them out and maybe do them later in a video. Thanks for watching guys. Please subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.